Yo, it's your boy Uncle Pre with another episode of the Unfiltered podcast. This week I have Anita in the studio, Pretty Parcel, Mindful Movements, and I'm going to put it on camera. I didn't know her name till she actually came in here. I've just been going based on the Insta handle, so I apologise for that. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good, yeah.
You enjoyed your lunch earlier?
It was nice. I can't promise that I'm not going to fall asleep, but
no, please.
I'll try not to.
I'll keep you engaged. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Give the guests an introduction.
So, my name's Anita. I run an online e-commerce brand called The Pretty Parcel, which is what I think majority of my community kind of know me for. And then about a year or so ago, I opened up Mindful Movements, which is a business mentor and consultancy brand.
Yep.
On top of that, I also used to work full time. Yeah. But that's gone down to Monday to Thursday as a clean ops manager for a pharma company. Nice.
So you're forever on the go.
Yeah, it's probably not a good thing, which I'm starting to realise now. But yeah, it's a story.
No, it goes into the topic that you want to talk about, so don't worry. It's all good. It's all good. Give me a bit more backstory in regards to Pretty Parcel and Mindful Movements.
Yeah, so Pretty Parcel was something that I started about 6 years ago, and it stemmed from me actually being a wedding planner. Okay. I think you're going to realise a lot in this podcast about how many things I've done, how many things that I've tried, and how I've just really kept myself occupied for a lot of my life. But yes, Pretty Parcel started about 6 years ago, and all it started off was a conversation with somebody who did laser wedding invites. Mm-hmm. We got talking. She reached out to me through someone else and said, would you be interested in kind of giving the wedding invites for your couples? I said, it seems a bit flat, because that's not something that I want to do. I want to be a little bit different. But something was really leaning me towards having a conversation with her. So I said, let's meet up for coffee. And when we did, she actually brought a few wooden boxes with engraving. Yeah. And I thought that looks actually a bit interesting. I was engaged at the time myself, and I was looking for a jeweler box. And a lot of the things that I was seeing was predominantly mostly from India and threads work and all that stuff that I thought, well, actually the quality for me is not going to be the investment that I want. And literally that's where the first prototype was developed. It was literally the jeweler box from that day, and 6 years on, we've expanded our range. Everything is pretty much online. It's not been easy. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Hasn't been easy. I think I went into business very blasé. Thought a picture on an Instagram post, few sales through in, I'll be fine. Yep. And I definitely realised later on, that is not the way business works.
Fair. I see how the work addiction thing comes into play. All right, okay, cool. So we've got that being Pretty Parcel, and then Mindful Movements.
So Mindful Movements is something that came just before COVID. So 2019, I had a few people commenting on Pretty Parcel where they had kind of seen the growth, because a lot of my followers have watched me from the wedding hub when I was doing wedding planning, right the way through to being engaged, getting married, having my own home, moving house, opening up the Pretty Parcel. And that, a lot of the followers, I think, had a bit of a relationship per se. And a lot of them contacted me to say, well, we feel like you're quite approachable. Could you give us some advice? How do you fit all of this in? How are you doing things? Can you give some advice on it? And I said, I can, but it comes with boundaries. Because I think often in the past, I've kind of just given everything, right? So it comes with boundaries. And that literally was the start. I think I had one person first. That then went to about 9 to about 11 just before lockdown. So lockdown was March 2020. So November 2019, I remember having an Indian afternoon tea with the small community that I'd built, and there was a few of us there, and then lockdown happened, and then it went from 11 to 96.
Jeez. Okay.
Which is crazy to say that out loud, but there was so many people that I think thought, well, what am I going to do with my time? The things that I've parked to the side, I now want to start on. Yeah. And then that turned into online mentoring sessions. I would give people insight into the things that I've learnt, things that I've done either in my day job or from businesses, the mistakes that I've learnt from, and help them. And we did that over the COVID period, and that really made me realise actually there's a brand here. It can't just sit a little thing on the side. I've got to do something with this, and we've just carved it from there.
Nice. 1 to 9 to 11 to 96. Fair play. And it's like consultancy you do, right?
It is consultancy, yeah. Okay. So it started off being just a one-woman band. Yeah. So it was myself doing online sessions, and during lockdown, it was pretty much, I would say, every Saturday, given summer period, probably not, and seasonal, Christmas, every Saturday online from about 9 till 4, and it was back to back. And then when lockdown restrictions got lifted, the business had grown.
Yeah.
My capacity had got reduced. And then I was like, wait, hang on, I need to build a team out of this. So we've now got two individuals that work in the team.
Yeah.
One of them actually was an intern for Mindful Movements over the summer period, and we've just given him a role for 2 days a week. And then I've also got someone who I met at a gym reception, actually, and she works with me 2 days a week as well. It's very much 100 miles per hour, though.
Don't worry, I'm writing questions down. So if you see me looking down and you like,
I'm just going to talk about things that I probably never spoke about before.
nah,
So
you're all good. You're all good. You're all good. You're all good. That's mad. That's mad. So like, if I want to be consulted by you in regards to like my business, like how does that all work out? Because I feel like if anyone who listens to this and they're like, shit, yeah, look, I'd love to speak to her, I've got an idea, X, Y, Z, as a dummy kind of trial run right now.
Yeah, how would it work?
Yeah.
So the first thing we do is make sure we're the right fit for each other.
Yep.
So I am not somebody, and people that have known me for a very long time know this, I'm not somebody who sees people as targets and numbers. I get it on paper. That's what drives business, and you have to look at your metrics. But the first thing that I've got to get out of this, are we the right fit for each other?
Yeah.
Because if it's not value, if we've not got a valuable partnership between us, it's never going to work. Is someone going to be receptive to my feedback? Am I going to be receptive to their criticism? So the first thing we do is basically jump on a call, have an understanding of the areas that you're struggling with. Or actually, you might not be struggling. You think, well, actually, I've got a lot going on for myself, but I need to be able to expand. And then we go through a series of questions to establish what are the gaps and the challenges. And it's only then that I will be honest and say, I think I can help you with this, or I will know someone else and I'm just going to pass you on to someone else. And you know, here's a contact that you can, I know referral scheme and all that stuff. It's just, here you go and speak to someone else about it. So we have different types of services that we offer depending on what you want, but we work very closely with our clients. We don't take on a lot of work because, like I said, I work Monday to Thursday. So we don't take on a massive quantity, but we will focus purely on a number of businesses.
Fine. And so that goes the kind of I don't want to say the word advice, but what you do is help them with their strategies. Yeah.
So not just, it goes way beyond strategies as well. So the first thing we do is understand, do you even have a plan? If you don't have a plan, we help develop one. But then we also help implement it, because I think there's a lot of people that have plans, have ideas, have visions, have dreams, but nobody's ready to just get up and do it.
I'm one of those people.
Oh, are you? Okay, we need to
Nah, I'm joking. Nah, slightly. I won't lie.
Yeah, so I feel like there's so many people that, and I bet my team are even going to listen to this as well, and they're going to say, well, I feel like, you know, that thing you wanted to start, Anita, you better start. So we help people develop the plans, but then help implement them. I think there's a lot of people that get stuck. Now, the stuck bit is also what we try and help with. Are you getting stuck financially? Are you getting stuck because it's a mental block? Are you getting stuck because you're worried about what people are going to think, or you're worried about failure? So we tap into that a little bit, which is where the mindful part of movements comes from.
Nice. I like it. I feel like whenever I come across people who, so I'm glad you don't call yourself like a coach, because like, well, I love the word because I am one, but like,
yeah, but I think it's important to what capacity.
Yeah, because I don't advise anyone. I can offer advice if they ask for it, but I never advise anyone. I'm of the believer that you know what you kind of need to do. Yeah. It's just a case of you just need to push in the right direction to do it.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Because like, I know first and foremost, like to build my business, I possibly need to hire a number of business mentors. I need someone to like do all my video edits, etc., for the podcast, etc. But there's a reason why I might not be doing X, Y, and Z right now. And that's where my coach will come in and help me figure out what that block is. Yeah. And they won't tell me, well, why don't you just do this? They'll be like, well, break it down a bit more. Where's that really coming from? When you deep it a little bit further, it's just a case of then, well, now you know what the challenge is. Are you going to do anything about that challenge first so that you can start doing the things you want to do in your business, right?
Exactly. Even a lot of my clients, to be fair, have said that I see a pattern in a lot of the people that I speak to. A lot of it is that people do have their visions, they have their goals, but there's something that's stopping from that to actually implementing. Yeah. And it's usually that piece that we get stuck into, as well as then looking at it creatively as well. Like, I've got a very creative mind. So if there's a particular business problem, I don't just go with the cliche stuff. I'll actually think about it. I'm quite a deep person. So I think on a deeper level. And actually, I've got a personal trainer that's got a gym facility. And he just said straight away, he was like, I can't get how you think about these things so quickly, but everything that was in his head, I've managed to get on paper, whether it's visually for the team or I've conceptualized it so that he can drive the business forwards. But I think it just helps to have that partnership, that accountability person to say, but are you on track? How are we getting on with that? Everyone's got the answers though themselves.
Because that's my only fear in terms of like, if I ever try to shift my style of work into being like consultancy, or it's a case of like, what works for me may never work for you. And I don't know your situation inside and out, so I can try and like analyze it, but I'm at home with my feet up and you might be struggling. So it's very, very different to like just say it can work. But no, I appreciate it. Like, you hear it all the time in business.
And that's why we separated our services out, because there's people that just want the advice. There's people that just want to speak to someone, have a sounding board, versus someone who wants us integrated into. So
you do a bit of
business.
coaching then?
I don't like that word.
Yeah, you do a bit of coaching. It's cool. It's fine. It's fine. So just put it out there. Pretty parcel, mindful movements, throwing a little bit of coaching while we're there. Nah, love it. Love it. Love it. You mentioned one of the topics that you want to talk about today is people rushing to the decision to quit their 9-to-5 to own their own business.
Yeah. Okay.
Get into it. Get unfiltered with it.
Okay, so I personally believe, and this is all my own opinion, right? So like, that's a fast little disclaimer I want to put out there. This is my opinion. There's no right or wrong, but I have seen a pattern. Now, whether this was because I spoke to a lot of people during lockdown, or it's just because I've matured in my own business kind of stage as well, but there is a lot more to business than just having a concept and running with it. And I think a lot of people are in 9-to-5 jobs and they feel like they're trapped. They feel like they cannot move away from 9-to-5. So they start looking online, and then you'll get all of these online kind of posts from whoever they are stating that they've made, 6 figures in their business, or, oh my God, I've done this overnight, or why don't you have a membership, and charge $2,000 a month? And it sounds so appealing and so attractive, especially for somebody who is absolutely stuck in their 9-to-5. And I just don't think that when people are posting online, they're really thinking about so the person who's actually posting, are you really thinking about what you're saying? Is it really authentic? Is it truthful? But the person who's receiving the message, are you not being led to make decisions about your life by something you're just seeing on a little square? And I actually try to encourage people. So, going back to what's, the kind of conversations I have with clients, even at the very beginning, if someone says, I'm in a full-time job, I want to have something on the side. I'm like, but what do you want on the side? How much time do you have to give it to the side? Like, if it's a secondary income and you're okay to not give it a lot of effort, fair play. But if you're hoping that this thing that you're going to create and build, and it's going to be this big, huge thing that you're going to make, and you're going to get happy in it, and you're going to leave your 9-to-5, it's not the reality. It's not the reality. I think 9-to-5s, you can find a 9-to-5 that you enjoy. Drop your 5 days a week, if you can financially, to 3 days a week. Have the 2 days doing something that you enjoy. I think a lot of people escape a 9-to-5 to find themselves running a business, to then go, oh my God, actually this is way harder than I expected.
Understandably. I'm going to counter.
I was going to say, but I can see a but coming.
Now, only reason why I say it from this angle is because I feel like the concept of a 9-to-5 is it keeps you within this safety blanket where you're getting that constant paycheck. So from a financial perspective, depending on your salary and if you feel like it's serving you, great. I know people who never want to leave a 9-to-5 because you know what? Their safety blanket is the finances, but what they really are fulfilled by are the family time they get to then have. Your weekends you get to share with your kids, etc., and stuff like that. So totally get it. Some people actually can't quit their 9-to-5 based on their circumstances. If they're looking after parents or they're the breadwinner in the household, like, I get it. But I am also opposed to the fact that, like, if you're doing something purely for the sake of it, I don't think it's as easy to transition into something which would make you a lot more happier. I agree. As in, from an accounting perspective, because I'm an accountant by trade. Right. It's not very easy for me to possibly move into, let's say, if I want to become a consultant, right? Because that's normally a transition people do when they do audit. They go into like management consultant, stuff like that. I tried and I looked at it. You haven't got the experience for it. Right. You haven't got the skill set. You haven't worked on the systems and stuff like that. All right, okay, cool. So I've got to start again for it, what you're saying. Okay, cool. I've worked this hard to get this salary, and now you're telling me I've now got to go all the way back to then pick myself back up again. Life has moved on for me. I can't just start again. So maybe what might be a better option for me is to consider, well, what's really going to make me tick a bit more right now? And when you drop it like that, I look at it from a perspective of my barber, key example, works maybe 3 to 4 days a week and gets to spend 3 days doing what he wants. Now, I've asked him, do you enjoy what you're doing? And he loves cutting hair. And he makes good money cutting hair. But he also has a life where he can just chill and relax. And I'm like,
how are you doing that?
How are you doing that? And I'm working this 9 to 5 right now. It makes you think, well, he does a good enough shift, like maybe like 10 to 11 hours on those 4 days. So he's definitely doing the hours. But then you then start asking yourself, well, why are we wasting our time, which is also so precious right now, doing things just purely for the sake of it?
Yeah. And I agree. I feel like there's a point where I think each individual needs to ask themselves, if I'm uncomfortable where I am, whether that's relationship, a 9 to 5, whatever it is, what's causing me that uncomfortability? Because I have met a lot of people that have done a 9 to 5 and still do a 9 to 5, and they're saying, I don't like my job, or I don't like what I'm doing right now. But ask yourself, what is the thing that you're leaning towards? If you're leaning towards fulfillment and you feel like, actually, I like helping people, is your job, your 9 to 5, doing that? Because there's a lot of things that you can do in a 9 to 5 that you can help people and change your career.
Of course you can.
But the problem that we have is obviously the financial situation. I think a lot of people are comfortable with earning what they earn and not being able to let go of that, because there are things, there's bills to pay. But I get very conscious about how much things there are online, making people feel like it's this lovely place to be when you're a business owner, and they're selling a dream. And I don't think it's not right.
There is that argument, because like when I spoke to Shilpa, who came onto the pod, and we jumped into this topic, and I was all for like people shouldn't just follow the influencer content creator lifestyle, because you don't see the hours that they're putting in, and it may look glamorous from a perspective, but like what happens if Instagram just shuts down? Then what do you do? Like, yes, you may be getting a couple of brand deals and stuff, but how many hours are you putting into that? How much of that is actually monetizing in something which is quite sustainable? So there are certain things you consider. And also some people have like quite luxurious backgrounds where they can make that step, and it's fine. And like, if you're in a position right now where you can't, like, it doesn't make sense. But I'm also very opposed to the fact that, like, if you have an idea and it's something you want to explore,
go for it.
You may never get this chance again. Now, I hear what you're saying. Like, don't just quit.
And that's what I mean. Like, I don't want it to sound like I'm thinking, like, I don't want people to feel like it's the ambition that I'm killing, right? I think there's ambition, and there's that drive that you have. Who am I to say I'm a hypocrite? I've got 2 businesses that I run, right? So I can't turn around and say, oh my God, like, don't do it. But it's really important to know what you're going into, because what you don't want to face is that you've quit your 9 to 5, you've gone into a business, or you might still be doing 9 to 5, still having a business on the side, to find out later, actually, oh my God, this is exhausting. I've got burnout. I've got really low self-esteem. I don't want to do this anymore. I actually had a happier life. Now, sometimes you're not going to know that until you actually do it. But it's asking yourself, that is the decision that I'm making something that I really want, or have I been influenced by what I've seen online and thought it was going to be a bigger world for me? Because I think there's a lot of scams out there. I think there's a lot of memberships out there. I think there are so many scams that I see, whether it's Facebook adverts, Instagram adverts, about, oh, come and build this membership, we'll teach you how to make 10k a month. And that to me is red flag central, because how can that, if that one model worked, would that not be something that people would advocate? Would not everybody be doing that? So I think if you're making a decision to quit your 9 to 5, to go and do something else, or you're going to run a business in parallel, to just make sure it's a decision that's led by you and not led by what you're seeing on these little squares online, because those people are not paying your bills. Those people are not going to pay for your mental health counselling courses that you're going to need. They're not going to pay for your business mentoring sessions that you're going to need, because you can't do it alone.
I don't understand some of those, like, make 10 grand.
I don't get it.
I also don't understand, like, the ones where they say like, invest in us crypto stuff and traders and all that kind of stuff. But I am of the mindset, like, if you are passionate, let's use me as an example in terms of like coaching. I love doing what I do.
You can tell, by the way.
Oh, what?
You can tell. You can tell.
I really love, like, having that time to sit down with someone and genuinely, like, give them something I possibly never had growing up. And from a perspective, like, if you're trying to build something, grow something, whether it's personal or professional, like, that time is priceless. So I could have like a long ass day at work, come back and I'm battered. And as soon as I've got a coaching call, literally like, hey,
Yes,
right.
I know what you mean.
As soon as the conversation starts, fully pumped and motivated.
Yes.
I ain't even going to sleep now.
Yeah.
But like, it's like that kind of drive. You don't get that sometimes in your 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
So if it's a case of you're feeling unfulfilled, why aren't you trying to seek something?
Yeah.
And I feel like there needs to be, society possibly doesn't paint out that picture that it's okay to start again.
Yes,
So
they
for
don't.
me, it doesn't paint the picture for me to go back to like a graduate scheme role and do something more.
See, I find that really interesting because, so when you said earlier on that like you being an accountant and you would find it hard to start all over again, my brain says to me, but why not?
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I get that you might be comfortable with the financial piece of things and the salary, but my brain, and this has been me for like God knows how long, just always says, but this is only one life. How can you be channeling yourself just to this one title and one role and one area when you could be tapping into so much more than with what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And it completely baffles me. But then again, if someone was to say to me, go on, Anita, let's revert the question back to you. Would you start all over again? Actually, yeah, I probably would, because I did a biomedical science degree. I did oncology. I did a diploma in solid tumours, so oncology. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am working for a pharma company, but I'm a clinical operations manager. I'm not working as a drug developer. I'm not working in the lab. It's a pivot that you've made, right? But you
wouldn't go back to doing something towards...
I would go back to uni.
But would you go back to uni in terms of go back in time to uni? Or are you talking about like, would you start uni tomorrow?
Yeah, I would do another course tomorrow. I wouldn't go back.
But you'd continue doing what you're doing right now, right? You wouldn't just put that all on hold.
There would have to be bits that I'd put on hold because how could I fit it in 7 days?
Okay, cool. So like, what would you put on hold?
It would probably be the pretty parcel. So I would do an assessment, right? So I would have a look at everything that I'm getting fulfillment from.
Yeah.
And what's financially going to keep me stable because I've got a mortgage to pay.
Yeah.
So I would have a look at all of those and I'd make adjustments to it.
So let me ask you this.
I love the challenge. This is
great.
great.
Listen.
This is great. No one
right
challenges me like this. Bring it.
What gives you more fulfillment? The 9 to 5 or pretty parcel or mindful movements?
What gives me more fulfillment is not any one of those things, but it's what I do in those things that gives me fulfillment. So helping people grow or helping people feel good.
So you're saying they're all equal?
They're not all equal.
What's more?
Oh, mate. If you had a gun to my head and I had to pick mindful movements.
Oh yeah, and then after that?
The pretty parcel's going through a bit of a pivot, so that one...
Don't even try and tell me the 9 to 5...
The 9 to 5?
It doesn't rank higher than it. Don't lie.
No, the 9 to 5.
It ranks higher than...
Yes, than pretty parcel right now. Right now, yes.
Okay, if pretty parcel was at its highest. In terms of like bringing...
No, but now you can't do that.
I can do that. Of course, it's my podcast. I can do what I like.
No, but now you're kind of building a visual that's not even there.
Yeah, but you're basing it on like where it is right now versus what it could be.
If pretty parcel was up there, oh my god, that's tough.
No, my point is made because you just said to me right now. You can think about it as much as you want. You just said to me right now. Yeah, your words were. Yeah, well, if I want to go back to uni, I'd like cut hours on pretty parcel.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is that those two things that you're doing right now, your two businesses are your babies in terms of...
Yes, they are, yeah.
You get enough fulfillment. If pretty parcel was at the stage you wanted to be at, where it was generating the same kind of income that your 9 to 5 brings in, you'd sat that 9 to 5 in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
No, but see, this is where the work addiction, I think, comes.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get into that. Don't worry. I've got that all questioned up.
So you say, so like, that's a very black and white thing, right? Like, if pretty parcel was running at its peak, would you quit your job?
To go back into do a new degree.
Okay,
That's where
yes.
it came from.
Okay,
exactly
yes.
my point.
Yes.
But you initially
because it would create time for me to go.
Exactly.
Yes.
But you initially said that, no, I'd have to like cut back on pretty parcel.
And that would be because of where it's now. But if it was based on today's decision, it would be pretty parcel has to slow down, pause, whilst I do my degree.
Yeah.
If it was that pretty parcel was at its peak, then yes, I would quit.
So all of this is then purely based on like the financial
injection, because I've got to have bills to pay.
Yeah, just interesting. That was all.
Look at the smirk on your face because you know you just got that one.
Just called you out on it. The only reason why, because it's like, again, people can't make that decision based on their circumstances. Like, I could go back. I'm comfortable right now. I don't have bills to pay, so I'm chilling. But my lifestyle has changed. I can't go to a graduate scheme role and earn a graduate scheme salary based on like my lifestyle habits.
Yeah.
You know?
Does it then not lead to what your priorities are? So let's say you have a choice.
Yeah.
You don't have the bills and the stuff that you're talking about, but you have a choice. What then stops? So what's important? Is it the lifestyle?
Yeah. Or choice.
Yeah.
I'd definitely do the choice. If I didn't have to worry about the financial injections that come from it, sick. But at the same time, right now,
you want to live life.
I'm not in that position where I ain't won the lottery.
Yeah.
So I can't just be like, yeah, fuck this shit. I'm just gonna go study something, because I would have loved to have done like psychology or philosophy.
Psychology, yeah,
that area. Or even if I could go back in time, I feel like because I'm so good in terms of conversation and like problem solving. When I hear all my friends who are consultants telling me what they do, I'm like, I could do that.
You could do that. Yeah.
I can do that in a heartbeat. I'm like, yeah, but you ain't got the skill. What do you mean? I don't need skills. I can talk.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? But when you like try and like wheel it up, I get it. Like if you've got 5 years experience working in consultancy, someone who's never done it before, it doesn't work that way.
But here's a question for you though.
Go on.
Because you just mentioned the lottery.
Yeah.
If you were to win the lottery tomorrow,
yeah,
what would you do? What would you spend it on?
Ooh, if I was to win the lottery tomorrow, okay, let's just...
I love asking everyone this because it makes them think.
Let's just assume it's a big number as well, right?
Yeah, really big number. Go on.
Yeah. Definitely would be handing in my notice for sure. And I think I've luckily been speaking to a financial advisor anyway, so I've got ideas of what would be the best moves for that. But I would 100% be going full in regards to podcasts and coaching and trying to take it to that next level.
So what stops you from handing in your notice now? I'm coming back for you.
Nothing's stopping me. Nothing's stopping me. Well, I'll let you know.
Are we moving on?
Yeah, we're moving on. Nah.
What is stopping you? What is stopping you from handing... This podcast is taking a different turn now. I'm going to ask you questions. What's stopping you from handing in your notice?
I'll have you know, I have actually handed in my notice.
Have you?
Yeah.
No, have you really?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, congratulations. Well done.
A couple of weeks ago, yeah. I handed in my notice.
I don't know if you're lying now
I'm not lying. I've handed it in.
That's it. You're on this full time.
Well, no, I've got like a 3-month notice period, but yeah, I've handed it in.
Perfect. You got 3 months to scale up, do what you got to do.
Yeah. And the idea to hand it in was purely on the back end of there's things I'd like to do.
Yeah.
And if they aren't available.
Yeah.
And if I'm not able to like leverage what works for me, then I need to give this a go.
Well done.
Gonna happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because time's not on anyone's side, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
if that answers your question, then yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
I'm impressed, to be fair, because I feel like I couldn't, if you were to ask me to quit tomorrow.
Don't get me wrong.
It's the whole thing. I've got a mortgage to pay for,
No,
right?
I understand. Again, everyone's circumstance is different. So
yeah.
I can totally appreciate that some things can't just slide. Like if you and your partner are reliant on a certain stream of income to pay for certain things, makes sense. I'd only challenge you further and ask yourself the question, and this is what my coach said to me when he came on. It was like, you can scale them both like this at the same time, or one can just grow exponentially.
Yeah.
What would you do on the back end of that? And sometimes we live in this fear of like, can it really get to that stage?
Yeah, and I can hear that. I can see that. So I've got my team members that are going to be listening to this, and for as long as I've known Ella, she's been harking on at me to do a podcast, harking on about having conversations.
When I get a chance to message Ella, I'm gonna be like, listening to you speak right now. I'm like, why haven't you got one?
Well, this is it. Is that, and I'm not joking. It's even prior to Ella. So Serena's sitting in the room now, and I've known Serena's one of the ones that actually knew me from Wedding Hub, Pretty Parcel, and has known me. It's an Instagram follower turned friend.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So I have had people say to me, "Why have you not doing this?" You know, Rima is a good example from the Grounded Yogi. Why are you not pushing yourself to do that? So I am a bit of a hypocrite, but I am I will tell people I'm a hypocrite. But Ella will be listening to this and going, okay, so you're here on this podcast saying all these things, but what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
But it's a bit what you're saying. It's that fear of it getting so big. There's a term for it as well. I don't know there is a term.
Success.
That's it.
I don't think that's the case though for you though. Now listening to you, I don't think that's the case. I think you're more worried in regards to your current scenario right now. And we're looking at it from a scarcity mindset and a short-term mindset. Like, what if it doesn't work in the next 6 months? Then what? What do I do?
Okay.
And my only challenge to people who are in this boat, and this is like where I looked at it, I'm like, in the next 6 months, the goals I wanted, like, can I survive off the next 6 months without having that stream of income coming in? Yeah, what would I have to cut back on? Okay, cool. But what?
Yeah, that's smart.
What
Yeah.
opportunities could arise from it?
Yeah.
So the time that's available, if I'm 100% available, I could be in here more often and doing my work from downstairs in the reception, chilling. So I don't necessarily need an office. I can work from anywhere. I could be on a beach, just chilling in Bali, just relaxing,
Oh my
having
God.
coaching conversations.
That's what you're going to do, aren't you?
It might be a shout.
Yeah, you're going to
You
do.
know?
I could just see
But,
it.
like,
I could just see it.
Like I am so passionate around going towards schools and generally,
I love
especially
that.
in my area, and speaking to the kids and generally giving them some insight that what teachers didn't do for me back then was telling me that it's okay.
Yes.
You just had pressure,
Yeah.
comparisons, trying to beat your, and like, no. And asking these kids these questions, I'm very passionate on doing something towards that. I can't do that if I do a 9 to 5.
Yeah, because your time's so consumed with that.
Right.
I love that though. I love
So when I break it down, can I survive the next 6 months in doing that? Yeah. If you asked me 2 years ago what my goals were to get a house,
Right.
to get a mortgage, to have all of these things in place. But the way the world works, things don't fall into
Yeah,
place.
they're not in your control.
And right now, it's a buyer's market. I can buy a place. Do I need to buy a place? Why am I buying a place? I'm chilling right now. I don't have any commitments. I'm not tied down to anyone. What if I want to go work 6 months in Bali?
Yeah, you can.
What if I want to do podcasts out in America? Just find
Exactly, you can.
Like opportunities are there. What am I missing out? I'm missing out on possible steady income, but can I make that?
But this is what I appreciate about your honesty, right? Because you're literally saying that you can do that. Because from a financial, you're not reliant,
Exactly.
right? And I think that there's a lot of brands or a lot of brand owners or whatever you want to call them online. There is a lot of people out there that don't show that side. They don't show the fact that they can invest into a team or they can invest in into these things because they're not reliant on that income. Whereas if there was more people like yourself that says, well, I know that I can do it. So you're not putting pressure on people to do what you're doing, but you're saying, I know that I'm in a position to do it. And I think that's the bit that's really important. But I'm here for it. I'm here for this 6 month journey now.
100%.
I'm invested.
At the same time, if work ever turned around and said to me, look, the things that you kind of would like to do, which is it's essentially, in some other words, bring in what I do in terms of coaching into, let's say, the corporate environment.
Yes, you do it with a heartbeat.
Exactly.
You can tell.
Those words. And the reason why is because like I've suggested ideas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think I could thrive doing that.
I was just going to say, I can see it in you already that you've got a lot of passion and I feel like you'd be so fulfilled. There's obviously something there though, like about you wanting to go back to school and do it with kids because you feel like there wasn't something there for you maybe at that time.
100%.
And that is what's going to drive you forward and what's going to drive you and make you happy. And I think there's a lot of people out there that don't know that about themselves, what makes them fulfilled.
Yeah.
And then they just go and either quit or stay in a job because it pays the bills.
This is why Uncle Pre is a fulfillment coach. So if you ever need a bit of help,
I'm going to book a session. Are you free next weekend?
Come through. No, but no. That being said, though, like I would possibly take in a heartbeat, just because it's like, why would I want to turn down something that I kind of really want to do?
Yeah.
And, okay, cool. It's the safety blanket and it's the comfort, but from a financial perspective, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I'm all right now. But if you were to offer me more, and to be able to do the thing I really love doing,
You would.
from a very completely different perspective, not from a personal perspective, but like professionally.
Yeah, of
No
course you
brainer.
would, yeah.
Like, I actually went into coaching, and then when I first started, like all my like mentors at the time were saying to me, like, you could do really well in terms of going into the accounting space and helping young accountants realize that there's more to life.
Yeah.
Getting them through their exams.
Yeah.
Helping them progress within their careers if they want to stay within
This is so
finance.
stressful.
But it's like,
Watch this space, okay?
Oh, yeah. Soon come. Uncle Pre could just do a
You're
bit
going to be
of
at the
everything.
unis,
Yeah,
you're
no.
going to be at the colleges, you're going
That's
to be at
it.
the schools.
Going back to what you were saying, I do feel it's always dependent on your scenario.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
what I would say is that if you are in a position where you are unhappy and you want to do something different and you have a dream and ambition, you need to find a way of being able to start implementing that.
Yeah.
And what tends to happen is that I realize this, that people don't really want it.
Yes,
Just
that's
say
what,
it.
yeah. Yes.
So one of my boys who came onto the show, I think earlier this year, he has a gaming company, nuts, and like went through the whole process of getting investors in, talking about big boy money,
Right.
and like blew my mind because he's from the same area as me, lovely lad, but like his drive, it was like, yeah, like don't just like roll over until you're in a place where you can. And like
that's smart.
It got me thinking, like, there are steps that you possibly may have to take, which won't be the same as, let's say, someone like me who can just quit and just not worry about it. But that's when the comparison starts coming.
Yeah.
Oh shit, he's doing that. Maybe I should be doing the same thing.
Exactly.
It doesn't work that way.
And that's the thing that I think, you know, how you just had that thought around he's doing that, and that's a friend, right? Now, when we think about how people get so influenced by what they see online, you don't even know that other person on the other side.
Yeah.
But you look at that square and you think, that person's just done this. Maybe I should be doing that.
Yeah.
And then I know people who actually subconsciously make decisions based on what they've seen. Now, that's from something as top level as, let's say, business, right the way through to what's my wedding decor going to look like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? And if we think about a time where there wasn't Instagram, people would have to select their wedding decor themselves based on what the venues have showed them in their packages. But now we've got to that stage where people are looking online and going, I want my wedding to look like that.
Yeah.
Because that person did it.
Yeah.
And it's that instant kind of feeling of I've got to do it, because subconsciously you're comparing. So you've got to be mindful when you're scrolling, because whenever I'm going online and I am seeing things, and this has happened, I will never sit here and speak about things that I haven't experienced. I know there have probably been some decisions, I can't say exactly what, but I know there have been some decisions that I've made about whether it's from people kind of showing me what clothes they've got. Oh, I better buy that jacket because it looks great. But guess what? I've put it on and it doesn't look the same on me. And I feel shit now.
Yeah.
Because my body's not the same shape as you.
Yeah.
You're not a stylist.
Yeah.
You don't know what my body shape is, but I've been influenced.
Yeah.
And not inspired. They're two different things.
They are very, very different. Like, Jigna came on
I love
last
Jigna
month
stuff.
or a couple months ago, and like our episode that I put out this week, we talked about like weddings and how like people are generally trying to just like do it based on what they see on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're doing it for the content to show I'm having a great time. Really and truly, it's bloody stressful. Or everything you just paid for, maybe way out of your budget, but you're doing it because it's like...
Even when you just... my mind's blown. Because even when you say that it's for the content, I'm going... And how long for?
Yeah.
You spend all that money...
Yeah.
For a few posts on Instagram, but for what?
Yeah.
And I guess, look, for some people, they are influencers and it's part of their content and they need to do that. And that's fine. But I would still argue then, like, is it really necessary? And can I just say that sometimes these influencers then also it's paid for, right? Yeah. Like they've got a brand deal, and that's also fine as well. It's the way that they've got a community, they've got a platform, they have got an excessive amount of followers who will then purchase from that business. So this is where it gets a bit grey. Yeah. Because you've got influencers who need those brand deals because it's part of their job. Yeah. But they also get loads of stuff for free. Yeah. So if we let's think about Kim Kardashian, right? Yeah. She can have a brand deal tomorrow if she wanted to. So she's going to have Louis Vuitton send her all of these bags, all of these, which makes her glamorize herself even more. Yeah. And she becomes on this pedestal even more than she already is. Yeah. But she's got it for free. Yeah. And that's not me saying that influencers shouldn't get it for free. That's not what I'm saying here. I understand that there's brand deals. I understand that there are a community where people are going to purchase more and businesses are going to make money. But what I'm saying is that the viewers... You just need to be really smart about who you follow, what you take in, and what decisions you make. Influencers need to do what they do. That is part of the life now. That is part of the world. They are going to put content out there. You don't need to follow everybody.
It's true.
You don't need to agree with what everyone's saying.
It's true. It's weird. I like how you wrote like being inspired versus being influenced, and like I went quite deep into it when I spoke to Shilpa. So her Insta handle was like late afternoon thoughts.
Right, I'm gonna look at that.
Actually, quite sick. Like such a great convo, but like. I've always said that if you're fortunate enough to have a massive platform, think about what you're putting out there first. Because it's not going to work for everyone. You have a social
responsibility. Like social responsibility. Yeah. So I'm so much, you can tell I'm massively passionate about this because I genuinely feel like I have been affected, I think like everybody else has, by social media, right? And I've not got a big following. I'm not an influencer. But I know there are things that I put on there, whether it's what my paneer looks like to what clothes I've brought, where someone's like, where did you get this from? Or, oh my God, how did you make this food? I'm influencing you on how to cook. And that's like a real basic level, right? Like I'm not this big shot person on Instagram, but I know that even if I've got 10, 15 people on there that are going to make decisions on the back of what I've just said, I have a social responsibility.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And that's huge. And I don't know where the standards, where's the regulations on this. I don't know if it's ever going to come out. Is Instagram going to come out with something that they will look at influencers and creators and they have to, I know they've got their online posting rules, But that's online posting.
Just shift it to YouTube, shift it to another platform. But you're right. Like, there are so many things that get put out there, and it's a case of like, it's not going to work for everyone, but use what you've got as and this is just a personal opinion, use what you've got as an opportunity to inspire people. And I feel like that doesn't, or maybe it's happening a bit more, but it doesn't happen enough, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Like, you see all of these photos of women looking a certain way that dramatically can affect someone who feels that they need to keep up or catch up to that right now.
It does.
It doesn't.
Let me tell you, as a woman who is online,
Yeah.
who might not be the slimmest person online or the slimmest person that she feels she is, it is really heartbreaking. I have had the most amount of meltdowns because of what I have seen online. And that's not, again, me saying that people shouldn't post online or I need to get my ass to the gym, like whatever it is. And I can switch off my Instagrams, turn my notifications. But it's that, again, it's that social responsibility. When you are putting something out there. Now, I know some fantastic brands that have got plus size models or models that aren't seen as your typical mannequin.
Yeah.
And I think they're scratching the surface, but at least they're there.
Yeah.
And I think it's changing slightly. I think people are starting to recognize that.
It's getting there.
But it's glamorized, right? Like even this whole thing of like a 5 a.m. start and, you know, start off with your morning with a meditation. And look, if I'm depressed, okay, I'm not getting out of bed. Yep. There is real human beings at the back end of this. And it's not easy as just let's tick this self-love checklist and we're absolutely going to be feeling fine.
This is why I say, like, I generally can't offer something that would work for me that may not work for someone.
Exactly.
Because your situation is going to be so different. But I can point you in things that could work or might not work. Like if you're telling me right now that you're constantly scrolling on TikTok and you're seeing things that's making you upset because you're not that person, stop being on TikTok then.
Yeah.
Just delete the app. Oh no, but what you're doing right now is you're feeding yourself to be in a position where you're constantly going to be less and less good enough.
And I think that's where you're right.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I feel like there is that one, there's a social responsibility of who puts out what.
Yeah.
But there's also the responsibility of the user of what you're following.
Yeah.
And then that's where sometimes I've had like a kind of social detox when I know that it's getting too much for me because it becomes a habit. When your thumb starts to naturally go on that little icon on an app without you thinking, that's where and I've been there. There's been problems where I've gone, how have I landed on Instagram? Well, it was my thumb that got me there.
Oh yeah, in the morning that happens to me a lot. Don't know why, but it does.
Try not to do it for like a week and it will be a game changer. I think you'll realize, because I think then what happens is from first thing in the morning, the first thing you're taking in is instant gratification from what you're seeing online. And then your concentration, your all of these bits and pieces get skewed for the whole week.
Yeah, you're right. 100%. Like I know if I posted something late at night, first thing I'm doing in the morning is just checking to see if it's...
you want to check the stats.
And like, I don't care, but I just do it as part of, oh shit, it did well. Okay, cool, sweet. Keep an eye on it because there may be some comments that you need to follow up with later on in the day, Pri.
But you do care.
I don't care.
That is you caring though.
I don't care.
If you didn't care...
Yeah. Why would I check?
Why would you check?
I check just...
Because there is that, you need to know, right? So you as in not need to know from a validation perspective.
Fine. Okay, cool.
But you need to know because you need to know if that thing has worked because it was a concept you had that you want to deliver. So you do care.
Okay, yeah.
But you don't need it to be validated.
Okay, fine. I don't care.
I win 2-1 to Anita. 2-1.
Don't you worry. Listen, we've got plenty of time here. I can just list through all of this shit. Hey, no, I'm joking. It's not a game. You're all good. For now. No, you're right. I don't chase the validation. It's more of a case of like, for me personally, it's when a DM comes through. Yeah. Or a message on the actual post, like someone's responded and it's like, yeah, shit, you know what, I need to kind of like respond to
get back
because
to you.
It's a case of if that someone right there needs me without actually asking me to message them, I feel like it's my duty to then do that. But
can you do that after you've got up?
You're right. Like before,
can you serve yourself before you serve others?
I can, and I do. The problem I have right now, and this is where, like, say, the 9 to 5 gets in the way of it, is that when I wasn't working a 9 to 5,
yeah, fair.
My morning routine is clean.
Yeah.
Wake up, don't even look at my phone. Would go shower, chill, pray, meditate, read, exercise. Then I'll look at my phone. I don't do that right now. It's now
because you've got your 9 to 5, right?
I've got to.
So your mornings are just.
I've got to make sure before I've left home, I've had a little quick scoop. I don't have to. It's not an excuse, but.
You'll be thinking about it. You'll be thinking about it.
It ties into it. But you know, you're right. Fair play. I want to talk to you about something you mentioned earlier, because we talked about like why you shouldn't quit your 9 to 5 necessarily based on your circumstances, and then you mentioned this work addiction. We said we're going to tap into it at some point, so let's go into it right now.
Work addiction's interesting.
Before I ask that question, where do you find the time for your personal life? I know you went out for a great lunch.
I had a lovely lunch, and I'm surprised I'm not falling asleep yet. Yeah. But it's an engaging conversation. That's what
happens when you get unfiltered.
So my personal life. So up until January this year, I was doing 5 days a week.
Yeah.
January, I made a decision to go part-time at work. So I work 4 days a week. But then I got a promotion in March, which meant increased responsibilities. So my plan was to reduce the amount of things that I do to a Monday to Thursday, get my weekends back by doing some business things on a Friday, get a team on board, and I can just relax.
You just said to me you don't do that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's changed. My responsibilities in March completely changed from a job front. Yeah. My day job responsibilities increased massively, and then it meant that Monday to Thursday, because normally what I do Monday to Thursday was at least come home and I'd have a couple of evenings where I think, you know, I can get back to bits and pieces that I need to do. And then my role changed. Monday to Thursday, I don't want to know anyone or do anything. I'm knackered. And then come Friday, I've got the team that need me. So the Mindful Movements team, they need me. And then I've got my weekends now that I've brought back to some extent, but not to the extent that I would like to get to. But that's where the undiagnosed ADHD comes in. Because I'm starting to realize now that some of these are personal habits, but some of them actually just, my brain is actually just wired to do a lot. Yeah. I can't switch off. So if I give an example, yesterday I went to go and see my family, and they're in Coventry. I drove back, my husband was out, and I thought, I'm going to watch a movie. I'm just going to sit and watch a movie. I find it incredibly hard to watch a film. I cannot sit and watch a film without, I mean, during this whole podcast, I have been twizzling on my ring here because I find it incredibly hard to sit and do absolutely nothing. And I know watching a movie is not doing nothing. You're actually taking it. Yeah. I can't. I will have to watch TV.
You can't switch off?
No, I can't switch off. I switch off at night, so I have like a good solid 8 hours sleep deep. Yeah. Deep, and nothing's going to stop me from my sleep. Sleep I can do. Yeah. But but actually being switched on day-wise, I can't do one thing either. I have to do a few things in one go. So whilst I'm talking to you,
you're thinking about,
I've got already plans, things that I'm going to sort out, the little bits and pieces, and not in little granular detail, in a lot of detail. But in the back of my head, I know that I've got a friend that's sitting there. Yeah. And I'm thinking about the conversation that me and her have had. Yeah.
And are going to have on the back end of this.
Yeah. And so it's like, I'm thinking about like three, 4 different things in one go.
So what you just said there, you're constantly thinking. Why is that?
Oh, gosh.
I told you you're fucked. Why is that?
Okay. I don't even know where to... I don't know where to start. I don't know what that question means. What do you mean, why is that? I don't even know where to start with that. So ask me a different... Rephrase it.
I'll rephrase it, because I know it's fucked you already.
Yep. Oh, gosh. Okay.
Why can't you stop?
Why can't I stop? Oh, gosh. Because when I stop, other things come in.
What? So why can't you generally put a pause on everything and just give yourself that time just to enjoy a movie? What's the underlying reason? Because there is one.
You're so bad. There is an underlying reason, which I'm still working through. Yeah. And I haven't quite got there exactly why it is.
I'm going to help you in the next few minutes, don't worry.
Are you? Okay. Wow, you're going to coach me right here, right now?
No. I'm just asking you questions that are going to...
I think if I was to completely stop and just watch a movie, one, my brain actually doesn't know how to do that. Yeah. Unless my partner's with me and we're watching a movie that we're both conversating about, then it's different. Yeah. But if it's me alone and I can't watch a movie, I think the reason why I can't stop is because I know as soon as I stop and try to watch something, my attention levels aren't there. My concentration levels aren't there.
Yeah. What's the reason for that?
I think it's the undiagnosed ADHD.
Yeah, and that's...
And I'm saying undiagnosed for a reason, by the way,
Yeah.
because I think there's a lot of things of going around ADHD at the moment. And I think it's, dare I say, I don't want it to be seen like I'm jumping on a trend or anything like that. And it's not a trend, but I think I've seen some people slate other people when they say that they've got ADHD. So that's why I keep saying undiagnosed, because I haven't been diagnosed, but I've been seeing a therapist for about a year and she's 99% convinced that I am. But there's also a very heavy waiting list to get diagnosed, and I don't know if I want to anyway.
That's fair. I feel that there is a further underlying reason which you don't
twizzle on my ring again.
you don't possibly want to say, which is fine.
There is.
Which forces you unintentionally to constantly be on the go.
Yeah, there is, and I don't think I will ever... Okay, I'm not going to say never say it. I don't think I feel comfortable publicly talking about it.
That's fine.
Because I'm just not there yet.
That's fine. That's fine.
But it's not fine. It's a problem.
It's fine that you acknowledge it.
I acknowledge it.
It's just,
but it's also and it's a problem, and it's probably what stopped me from doing a podcast, because I fear that if I have a conversation with someone that somehow manages to get these things out, like you're doing now, I will get sweaty, like it's happening now, and I will want to run out this room, which I'm gonna do now. No, I'm joking. But I will. I get a panic. Like now, I will be honest with you, I have got symptoms. My throat is closing up, and I feel like
it's uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, it's uncomfortable, and there's a fear factor. I did a rebrand event actually in March this year for Mindful Movements, and I had a few people in the room. Serena was one of them, and there was a few people in the room, and I had to ask the cameramen to switch off the cameras for a second so that I could talk to the community that was in, because it felt right. Yeah. I was talking about something. It felt right to talk about this thing.
I wish you told me this before. I had like all the cameras set up. We could have just done an audio.
I will. Well, no, it's not even about the video.
All right, fine.
It's about it being out there publicly.
Okay, fine.
So I will switch this off.
Yeah.
And I can talk to you about it.
All right, fine.
Because I know it's not being recorded.
Yeah. Fair.
There's a fear factor. Basically, there's a fear factor in there.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I spoke to... there was a few women in the room, and I had to ask the guys that had the cameras on that were creating content just to switch it off and actually walk out the room. I think they looked at me like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you guys need to just go, because I'm going to roll here now. Yeah. And I've opened up a little bit about it. And, you know, the girls went in the room, and I think a lot of people could tell, wow, it's taken her so long to actually even say things out loud. I said a lot and I didn't say a lot.
Yeah.
They knew there was something there, but I didn't say exactly what it was. And I'd have absolutely no problem, by the way, talking about it with microphones off, videos off, and you can ask me offline about all this stuff. But there's something just about it being publicly available.
It makes sense. Like, there are conversations people won't want to go into just based on it being in the public domain. I've had to not put episodes out because my friends have said to me, "Wow, what I wanted to share at the time, may be too personal." And and like for me, I'm just in the studio just recording by myself, so I didn't think twice. But this is my safe space. I can just say what I like and I don't care. But I can appreciate when some my boys were listening to it. They're like, "Bro, it's touching." But I think at the same time, you might want to rethink whether or not you want to get it out there or not, because it might be a bit too much for anyone else that listens into it who it may be targeted towards. So I was like, okay, cool. And I get it from your perspective. All I would say though is, on the back end of you feeling that way, that's going to limit you in terms of...
It's holding me back. It's already held me back. I'm 33 and it's held me back. I might get emotional now. It's held me back. It's held me back with relationships. Yeah. It's held me back with trust. It's held me back with things that I want to do in my life. It's been very detrimental. Yeah. And it's only because I have a supportive network now that I actually fully trust in that I think I'm on the road to at least something. Yeah. But it holds me back massively. And my team, like I said, there's Ella knows partially some of the story. And she said, if only, because the amount of people that you could help by telling them X, Y, and Z.
You wouldn't have to tell anyone X, Y, and Z. It's you telling yourself that you don't need to be on the go consistently. Right now, and I use this analogy, you're like an iPhone here right now. Your batteries are going to come to a point where...
they have done. So I know what burnout feels like. I know what exhaustion feels like. Exhaustion being not, I'm just tired, I'm going to flop on the bed. Exhaustion being my legs don't work. No. Exhaustion being my body is so battered and bruised internally because I've overworked it that I constantly got coughs, colds, flus, because I've got inflammation all over, which is why I ended up getting the post-COVID syndrome. And I've had COVID like 7-8 times because my immune system is just absolutely weakened.
Yeah.
But this was me prior COVID.
Yeah.
During COVID, it was a massive wake-up call because when I actually got sick, it was to the point, like I was saying earlier on before we started, where I couldn't cook. I couldn't lift a cushion without it being achy. When I realized my health had deteriorated so much, and I reached out to the Grounded Yogi, I reached out to Rima, I reached out to Simply Heal, which is a Reiki practitioner, Indy, and I said, I found them through Instagram and stuff, but I'm so glad that I did because they worked so hard at me.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized there's more to this than just Anita gets sick all the time. I have a weakened immune system because I'm on the go all the time. I'm on the go all the time because of this thing.
Yeah.
So since then, my life has slowed down, but then it ramped up again when my responsibilities in March increased. And now I'm at this tipping point of what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So when I got the team on board, which was over the summer period when I had interns on, it was a game changer because it meant that I've got a team to help support the day-to-day pieces.
Yeah.
However, they still need me.
Yeah. No, but in your head, I feel like you feel that they need you. And the concept of delegating and putting yourself first.
Yeah. I'm learning that. I'm learning that a lot. I manage a team of 13 in my day job. I've had to learn it very quickly. I couldn't in my first 3 months of managing this big team.
Yeah.
Constantly having someone come over to me and ask me loads of questions was great.
Yeah.
And I quickly had to learn, I'm going to have to just let you go and you've got to crack on with it.
The first question I was going to ask you when she started talking was, where do you find time if you're constantly on the go for like your personal life, your relationships and stuff?
So it's not the time. So this is where the ADHD thing comes in. So I don't know whether you know much about ADHD or not. So I have not looked into it for reasons.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes when you label and you put yourself in a box, you can get so caught up with what's there.
Yeah.
There's loads of online resources about what ADHD is. But what I've chosen to do is accept that I've got this possibility of having this condition, but I'm speaking to my therapist about it in weekly moments.
Yeah.
So it's not the time element. So I have the time. Believe it or not, my Fridays, every 2 Fridays a month, I will just relax. My weekends are relax.
Is that enough for you?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What happens if you had like a bit more?
It's a scary world for me.
Do you see what I mean though, right?
If I had a week off...
Yeah.
Okay, let me flip it to you. Let me, because I want to try and my brain gets a bit wired, right? So if you had a week off, what would you do in your week off?
I just had a week off. I went to Toronto just to chill out there.
And what was your? I did watch your stories actually. So what was your chilling?
Literally walking around the streets. I went at a bad time because it was cold, but I would like to have like gone and watched a couple of games, basketball games.
Yeah, I did when I went. It was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but like there are things that possibly I couldn't do. But generally, if I had a week off right now, and say it's summer in the UK, I'm going golf. If not 4 or 5 times a day, 4 or 5 times a week, I'll be at the course. Whether or not I'm playing or practicing, I'm there.
See, whereas if you flipped it and said, Anita, what would you do on your week off?
Yeah.
You had a week of annual leave off.
Yeah.
I'd probably spend about 5 days of that week doing business stuff.
And as if I had to, if you ask me the question, like, you can use this time for business, then it's different. But right now, if you're telling me you got a week off to just do whatever you like, I'm taking a break. And that's not to necessarily put my business on hold. It's a case of, you've been working quite hard right now, and I think you deserve some time just to reset. Do something that's going to make you smile and chill.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd golf. I'd go get myself a couple of massages in just to unwind. I'd gym a bit, treat myself to some good food, go out. I'm seeing 50 Cent next week.
My God, I'm jealous.
Like I would do things I possibly wouldn't allow myself to do just purely based on the fact that I'm like, I can't. I'd binge Netflix for a day if I wanted to.
Oh, see, I can't.
No.
So I have the massages, right?
Yeah.
And this is what my therapist said to me. Because when I had a conversation with her and she said, so tell me about a time like when I said, I relax a lot. This is my attitude when I started like a year ago. I was like, I relax a lot. She's like, what does relax mean? I said, well, I get my nails done. I go for massages every 6 weeks. I love fine dining food. I love experiencing new things. And she went, okay. But can you tell me when you're actually going to these appointments? So let's pick your massage, right? When you're going to this appointment, is it scheduled in?
Yeah, it is.
And I said, yeah. Doesn't it have to be? And she goes, are you rushing to that appointment? And then when you're there, have you wound down enough? And then what happens after that appointment? I said, well, I've kind of got to quickly get things done. So I had a call before, and then I've got to quickly finish my call, get to my appointment.
Yeah.
my hour's gone really quickly, and then I'm probably going to do some stuff after that.
Yeah.
And that's when the penny hit for me, that I've got these pockets of things that I do to unwind.
Yeah.
But it's the intention of when I'm doing it. Not,
Yeah.
like before, I think it was a tick in the box. Like I've gone for a massage, tick. I've gone to get my nails done, tick. Whereas now it's more about embedding it into my routine. But it's a serious challenge when you've got this brain.
Oh, 100%.
Like it's tough.
Yeah, I get it. And it's like the reason why I can possibly just binge Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever is purely based on the fact of like, and I could be saying something right now which someone might catch me on and when they hear it, like, maybe you're just fearful of actually giving it your all. So there are times where I'm like, I could just be doing podcast edits right now. I've got so many backlog. Why are you not doing it? And in my head, I'm thinking, can I be asked? Can I not? But the honest answer to that is get someone else to do it for you then, Pri, if you're that bothered about it.
If you're that bothered about it, yeah.
And so I'm always in that catch-22. But the reason why I give myself time to like unwind and watch stuff and just chill is because like life is also too short to like possibly just constantly be on the go. Like I see like Stephen Butler as an example when he has his Sunday episode that comes out and you see his whole plan. Constantly on the go.
On the go. I don't think being on the go is healthy. I'd like, and that's not what I'm definitely not advocating here. I recognize that me being on the go is because of the way that my brain is wired. Like for so long, I kept saying, why am I on the go for so long? And even my therapist said to me, she goes, whilst I'm talking to you, because I think I interrupted at one point. I was talking to her and I said, have you got a dog? And she was like, what do you mean? I said, I've just seen a picture of a dog. She goes, okay, just hold on to that. What else can you see in the room? And I said, well, obviously I can see like your cat's coming through the door. I can see there's like books here on my left. And she goes, okay, and what are you going to eat for breakfast tomorrow? And I said to her, and she goes, how are you thinking about all of that right here, right now? And that's when it started to go towards, hang on, there's something a bit special. Like there's something here, right? So then I was like, is she going to put me into this little box? And she goes, just read up a little bit about it and see if it resonates with you. Yeah. And then it was only when I was kind of going through, so the gym instructor that I was saying about before, the personal trainer who's got this facility and he's my client, even he said to me, I don't get how you're talking to me and you're typing at the same time, but so the thing that I'm typing is a conversation that we're having, but I'm also talking to him about the next concept. And I've had to calm myself down because there's a lot of people that get quite taken back by all of it. Like I'm too fast for my husband. I'm too fast for my team. I'm on the go. So my commute, I travel to Cambridge for work. What would you do? Like if you were driving and stuff, what would be like your common commute behavior, do you think? And I appreciate everyone's different. It's just, this is a bit of a realization for me about how my brain is wired differently.
It depends. Probably in the evenings, I might be on the phone to someone just to see how they are, unwind. I always like a phone conversation, but podcasts, probably listen to something educational. Or I very rarely like listen to music on the way to like long journeys and stuff just because can't be asked. When I'm commuting to work, read for like 20 minutes and then I'll get on my phone, maybe try and think of some Insta stuff that I can do or can't do, but I have a set routine and things I like doing on like journeys.
Do you and then when you're doing that, this is making me feel like am I the same? Like when you're listening to this podcast or you're reading or whatever, are you just digesting what is being what you've got there, the content, or are you digesting and then you've got this creative spark about other bits that you could do?
I'm digesting it and I'm not trying to like, well, I'm driving, so I can't really like start writing notes down and stuff. But if I'm in the passenger seat or if I'm on a train, like I might.
You will.
I might consider it. But the purpose of me listening to this right now is not to like just take up pen and paper and just like write notes down.
It's to absorb
I'm not at school.
I'm here
to just enjoy what these people are talking about.
Yeah, see, that's my problem.
So I listen to Shits and Gigs every Monday or every Tuesday.
Yeah, I've seen that stuff on Instagram. It makes me giggle.
So funny.
It makes me giggle.
I'm like, I watch that stuff. That's an hour of my time wasted.
But it's not. If it makes you happy, it makes you laugh.
Funny,
and that's the thing is that's what I don't do enough of. So my commutes right now, and that have been like this for a very long time until the pennies dropped about how much I'm on the go all the time.
Yeah.
And on the go, by the way, doesn't mean getting up early in the morning and sitting at your laptop. On the go is my brain doesn't switch off. Yeah. So even on my commute, I'm thinking about, I'll listen to a podcast and I'll go, oh my God, yeah, I've just got an idea, but I need to pause the podcast and I've got some thoughts in my head. Okay, I'm going to do this next year. This one in March, this one in Jan. By the time I've got to work, I've got my phone open now. I'm messaging my team and I've like got this and this. And now I've had to create barriers. It's not healthy for the team. It's not healthy for anyone that's around me to be absorbed in that environment if they're not used to it.
So another way of looking at it then, if you feel like you generally go straight into one thing, if you are listening to a podcast and you're getting ideas, don't use your phone then as a tool to write stuff down. Find something else. Maybe get another phone without a SIM card. if you really like writing on phones, or if you like.
I think I just want to be able to. I want to get to a bit where I can just drive.
Yeah.
Listen to a radio and have a laugh.
Yeah.
But
I
think that's a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna do that now. I feel like I need that, and that's what me and the therapist have been talking about now as well. Is going, what are those little pockets of pleasures that you have that you can go and enjoy, that you can actually spend time with the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that, that grey, that thing, that cloud that I'm talking about. That's influenced I a lot.
I get it. You're not alone as well. A lot of people go through similar things, and generally, I've spoken to business owners when they want to work on making certain figures by the end of the year. I don't know how your business works, but I can help you, hold you accountable. And you find out the real reason why they're not able to do X, Y, and Z is because they're filled with so much stress right now. They've got to live up to this expectation and this potential, and they've got so much shit going on at home and bills to pay and kids and this, that, and the other. And before you know it, they actually can't sit in the office and focus fully on what makes them happy because all this other stuff is in their head.
Yeah.
And it's a case of, well, if you don't work through that, it's going to keep happening. And you're going to possibly dislike what you do. Or you're going to come back home in a strop and in a mood. And it's going to destroy some of the relationships, right? So you got to try and figure a way of making peace with that first so that you don't bring that with you to work. And it's the same scenario for like dating. If you've been cheated on or you're not over your ex, every relationship you go into, every dating situation you go into, if you haven't let go of that, you're bringing that with you.
Exactly. But I think there's something really important about letting things go.
Yeah.
Or just being able to work through things. So online, there's a lot of resources everywhere, right? So you can go online and you can have a look at self-help therapy pieces, or you can go online and you can figure out all these like coaches, therapists, people that can help you. But I do think I've learned the benefit of having someone around for a very longer time, like for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
Like rather than having this clinical kind of counselling sessions, which is 6 sessions a week, they expect you to get over it in 6 weeks. They've given you some sort of tools.
It
doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. My therapist is in a cottage, privately doing this. I see her every Thursday, and sometimes I will rock up and she will literally, so she's a psychoanalyst.
Yeah.
So she will talk to me about my week, and so we'll talk about this podcast.
Yeah.
So she'll ask me. She'll say, who was the host?
Jeez.
And she'll say, so what was he talking about? Jeez. And then we will talk about this podcast and what was my feelings, what was my thoughts, etc. But that having that person for a longer period of time, even when you don't have a lot of baggage, problems, trauma, whatever it is, having that one person that's not a family member, not a friend, but is a professional, just to have a conversation with, means that I'm just kind of like filling up my own cup at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's an eye-opener.
It is. And like I tell clients, we create a plan of what it's going to be like. I feel like you're kind of, this is where you want to be, this is how we're going to do it. We work backwards. But like 6 months into a coaching package right now, and they've only just scraped the surface because they have finally now accepted that something isn't cool and they now need to start working on it because they've been avoiding it. And like, I can't tell you, it's a situation with your mum, go fix it.
Wow.
Or go do this with your dad right now because they don't want to do it. And you've got to get them to a stage where the penny drops.
And it's got to be the right timing for them, doesn't it?
I have a feeling, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, is there a little Anita inside of you right now screaming for a bit of chill time and relax time?
God.
We'll leave it.
Have you got my therapist number? Did she get in touch with you? Yeah, let's leave it there. But the answer's yeah.
Okay, cool. Nah, big thank you for coming through though.
No, it's been nice.
Thank you honestly, get on the podcast scene when you have the time to, because you're sick on the mic.
Yeah, okay.
You've got good chat.
Okay. No, I know. I will. It will happen one day. I'm sure. I don't know. I've been saying that for about 2 years. Or
keep going to other people's podcasts.
Yeah.
I'd put yourself out there. Rima was definitely right about having a good conversation with me.
Oh, thank you, Rima.
Whenever you're back in the ends, now you know where the studio is.
Don't say that because I might camp out.
Listen. I've enjoyed the convo. I could keep going.
Oh. No, it's been great being here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Where can everyone reach out to you to get in touch with you?
So either the Pretty Parcel if it's gift related, or Mindful Movements UK on Instagram.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Thanks again for listening. It's been your boy Uncle Pre. It's always a pleasure to be in the studio and record with my guests. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and if you like stuff like this, please do like, comment and subscribe. It helps me take the podcast to a place where I can definitely bring in more people that are going to resonate with you, whether it's their stories, whether it's their journey, whether it's just something that they're going through right now. So definitely like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, much appreciated you staying in here. I love everyone that comes through, and I love all the comments and feedback that I get, so keep that coming through. And yeah, it's been your boy Uncle Pre, and I'm signing out. Peace.